It is important when looking at Islam to look at the details of what are the rulings and the jurisprudence of each act. However, it is also important to consider the overarching objectives of Islam as a faith. Those are called maqasid al-Sharia, or the objective of Sharia, or the objectives of the faith. Sharia means linguistically the path of the water. And the scholars have looked at the faith as a whole in all its rulings and all its teachings and derived 5 main objectives of the faith. These 5 objectives are in priority, which means that the first one has a higher priority than the second one, then the third one, and then the fourth one, and the fifth one, as we'll see right now. So the first objective of Islam as a faith is preserving the freedom of thought, or what's called hifdhuddin, the preservation of religion or the preservation of thought. Any religion and any individual can choose whatever faith that they want to adhere to, and they can choose whatever they want to believe in. And it is an objective of Islam to preserve that right. Any person who is oppressed, whether physically or intellectually, would lose that spark to like to live and to be productive. And that makes that individual an unhappy individual. This specific objective is not only limited to the religion of Islam, but it is widely open to any other idea and thought that a person wants to believe in. So that's the first objective. The second objective is the preservation of life, hifdhun nafs. And what that means is that Islam is there to protect the life of the individual and hence anything that is needed for that life. For example, having good food, having good shelter, having security. All these aspects fall under protecting and preserving life. And the third objective is the preservation of the intellect. In Islam, intellect and the ability to think and contemplate is something that is of essence. As a matter of fact, in Islam, the person does not become morally accountable if they don't have a sound mind. So it is important when we look at Islam, to understand that Islam is there also to protect and preserve the intellect. And with it is everything that is associated with the growth of that intellect. For example, education. Islam encourages education and makes it one of the priorities. In many prophetic traditions, the Prophet, peace be upon him, encourages people to go and learn. In the Quran, there is constant encouragement to contemplate and think and ponder and travel the earth and learn from other nations and from other groups of people. It's also important to understand that in protecting the intellect, there are things that are forbidden. For example, alcohol, drugs. Those things are forbidden because they would take away that ability to think, and they can harm that facility, which is the intellect facility. The fourth one is the protection and the preservation of lineage or family. And with it comes everything from being able to raise good children, being able to provide healthy environment for the family, because the family is the building unit of society. From an Islamic perspective, the family is the building unit of society. And we might have more challenges in today's world when it comes to the protection and the preservation of this family unit due to the many challenges globally that families can face. And hence it is important when we look at Islam to understand that one of its objectives is to protect the lineage. And then the last objective is the preservation of wealth. And this means that every person is entitled to have their own wealth and to be able to use that wealth in a way that they see fit, as long as it's not harming society. And hence Islam encourages earning that is ethical. and encourages investments that are not harmful to other people or to the environment or to other aspects of life. And these 5 objectives have been derived and deduced from the overall rulings in the Islamic faith. Now, just as a practical example to understand the priority and how this can be used in a very simple way, we know that alcohol is forbidden, and it is forbidden because one of the wisdoms is that it goes against the idea of preserving the intellect. And hence, if somebody consumes alcohol and loses their mind or becomes drunk, now that intellect facility is not being preserved. However, let's say somebody is very thirsty and they're actually about to die out of thirst, and the only thing that is available right now is alcohol. So, do they drink alcohol and temporarily sacrifice that objective of preserving the intellect, which is the 3rd objective, or do they hold back and sacrifice the 2nd objective, which is preserving the self or life? Obviously, preserving the self has higher precedence, and hence, temporarily, that person drinks the bare minimum that they need from that alcohol in order to avoid harming themselves and basically killing themselves. And this is just a simple way to look at how these 5 objectives can be used. So the first objective, again, is the preservation of the rights and the freedom of thought, and the second one is the preservation of life, and the third one is the preservation of the intellect, and then the fourth one is the preservation of the family and the lineage, and the fifth one is the preservation of wealth. Thank you very much.